What are you the 1% of? I was born with a cardiac rhythm disorder. Normal heart rate for a newborn is like 130 per minute, mine was like 30. I heard from my mother my case was so rare that several cardiologists from all over the country ditched their conferences to fly to the hospital I was in and to see how to fit a pacemaker into a newborn. Not that I've looked it up, but I've run over a fish in my car. Whenever I tell the story, no one has heard anything like it. I have AB negative blood, which is found in less than 1% of the population. Came here for this. My sister and I both have AB negative. Plus she is a blue-eyed red-haired girl, which makes her even more unique. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2008 pole vault. When I was 8 to 11, I had the second highest score in the world. That has most likely changed. I was the world's fastest on Rainbow Road in Mario Kart Wii for like 3 days. Got my wisdom teeth pulled. One side grew back over a year from a fragment left. Dentist published an article about it, and was so happy. I was not with another oral surgery. My mom had her wisdom teeth pulled out, and they all grew back again. Dentist never seen anything like it, lol. I think it's like 0.1 to 0.5% of women, or something, but I have a double uterus. Medically called a Didelphys uterus. A septum separates my uterus, which kinda made them form into 2 separate ones, and the septum continues down into the vagina, so I also have a left and right side. Not fun to deal with, but I'm too scared to get the surgery for it. Can you get pregnant while pregnant? If so, I would use all contraceptive methods at once. I'm not sure about getting pregnant while already pregnant, but I'm sure that can happen, one pregnancy on each side. I drive a BMW and always use my turn signal, even pulling out of my driveway. Dude, if you are gonna lie, at least make it something believable. Triple nipple over here. 0.5%, I believe. My wife has 4. She wins. I was in the first 1% to watch What Does the Fox Say on YouTube. YouTube sent me an email telling me so. Ooh, that was Gangnam Style for me. I saw it with like 3,000 views. I guess I'm in the 1% of only having 3 lower front teeth. OMG, me too. I had no idea this was a thing. I just thought I was one weirdo. Did yours move to the center? Do your dentists also play a guessing game to figure out which one is missing? I'm so fascinated. Yay, I found my people. Had to wear braces in my early teens and they moved to the center, stayed there since then. I actually have an RTX 3080. In top 1% of Google local guides in my area. That's pretty cool. I've heard the top guides get awarded some gear. Have you gotten anything for your contribution? I heard that too. Was interested in the swag, and since I travel a lot for work, I thought, hey, let's do this. Over the course of a few weeks, I grew fast. Been level 7 for 2 years now. All I got was a coupon code to send a free Christmas card with a photo from my Google Photos. One holiday card. The myths of swag are overrated and from the earliest adopters. At the end of Detroit Become Human, they tell you the percentage of people who got the same ending as you. Mine was 1%. I am allergic to temperature extremes. Taking a hot shower or touching an ice cube will give me hives. I have cholinergic urticaria, so anytime my body temp goes up I break out in hives. Room temp showers for me. Me and my 11-year-old son tag-teamed a Hazard Level 5 mission on Deep Rock Galactic, which was meant for a 4-man crew. We beat it from beginning to end in one shot and got an award for it, saying that only 0.65% of players have beaten Hazard 5 from beginning to end. Typing speed. Edit. Average is around 40-50 WPM, with 100 WPM being top 1%. 100 WPM equals 500 CPM. Came here to say this, my record on a test is 156 WPM. I'm faster. 240 WPM. Sasselkate Fienzlke Jadslosia Kerpequike Jadsloke Sninsta Sa. Sulkade Fienzlks J Fim Vikink 6 Fninstelkave. Algs Sajwiamiriaxa. C. I have small intestinal cancer. The type is the same as colon cancer, but where it's located is less than 1% of worldwide diagnosis per year. but I've signed papers for 11 different oncologists to be able to access my records to see what works, what doesn't, etc., because they just don't get enough examples of it. Kind of hit or miss on procedures to work with, which treatments first, which type of chemo, etc. I've also said that if it ever reaches a point where I'm terminal and common treatments just don't work anymore, I'm willing to go all guinea pig. I had an ear infection travel up what would have been an otherwise asymptomatic formation of my skull called arachnoid granulation until it finally reached my cranial cavity. It took a literal team of the best doctors, ENT surgeon, neurologist, multiple neuroradiologists, from Northwestern University Hospital and the University of Pennsylvania to first diagnose me and then treat me. I was absurdly lucky to have a friend of the family who is a doctor who was able to call in a favor to get the entire neuroradiology team at UPenn studying my numerous CTs and MRIs. The head of neuroradiology at UPenn told him I have the most unique-looking skull he's ever seen. Talk about damning with faint praise. When they finally had a diagnosis, my ENT pulled my skull CT scan up and said, "Do you see that white spot? That's fluid. That's infection, it shouldn't be there. You're very lucky you haven't contracted meningitis. This had been happening for 10 years, undiagnosed. And do you see this black space here? That's air. That should absolutely not be there. Do you ever fly?" I responded yes, all the time, for work, for concerts, regularly, once a month or more. Well, you absolutely can't fly until this is fixed. Every time you've flown in the last 10 years and the cabin pressurized, that air could have expanded and shifted your brain off of midline, and you'd have been dead immediately, without knowing anything. They removed an L-shaped infected portion of my skull about 2 inches by 6 inches and replaced it with a titanium mesh plate after sewing the tear in my ear canal shut. It resolved the problem and I haven't had any issues since. I can now fly. Edit, because people are asking. The symptoms were fullness, pressure, and the feeling of fluid in my ears. It lasted years and several ENTs misdiagnosed me. Finally, I asked one to put in a tube and it drained continuously for a month. The ENT I was going to, not the one who diagnosed me, thought it was a cerebrospinal fluid leak, and ordered me to have emergency surgery for a cerebrospinal fluid leak that didn't exist. He had taken a sample of fluid for testing but demanded I have what amounted to exploratory brain surgery for a condition that didn't exist. I was sitting on an operating bed as they were about to place pre-op antibiotics when I got a call from the aforementioned DR friend of the family who said, "They don't know what the fuck they are talking about. Leave now." I got so many shit looks from the team of surgeons that had been assembled to cut my brain open to fix a problem that didn't exist. 2 days later I got a phone call from my ENT saying, the results of the fluid sample came back. It wasn't cerebrospinal fluid leak. No apology. No explanation. No nothing. Wow, they gave you a superpower? Why have I not read about this? We like to keep it on the hush-hush. Unfortunately, with the plate in my head every time the microwave goes on I forget math. It's a trade-off. Went to the optometrist recently, and he said I have a uniquely shaped right cornea and said I was in the 1%. Did tests for a degenerative disease that I couldn't remember but I'm in the clear. Some Latin-sounding disease? Cornos blah blah. The doctor said most people generally have half a portion of astigmatism in their eyes. My right eye has 5 portions. I have an autoimmune disease that's so rare nobody knows what it is. Genetic testing is currently underway to see if I have a recently discovered genetic defect that about 10 people have been diagnosed with. It's called INFLTR8, kick-ass, right? And it was named by one of the first people diagnosed with it. I have bad news for you. You got a very rare disease. How rare? You pick the name. Not sure if it's the 1% or not, but no, it's very rare. Womb twisted itself back to front when I was pregnant. Fetus should really not have been viable, but she's now a very energetic and beautiful 20-month-old. They were going to induce me early because the twist, that we didn't know about at this point, was causing me so much pain. Thankfully a nurse felt something was strange with my cervix, ordered another scan. Cut to emergency C-section. Surgeon had no idea what he was looking at when he opened me up, consultant called in. Noon in the hospital had ever seen anything like it. They took photos. Every nurse said they wanted to see them. We were lucky. The consultant said that afterwards she had done some research and only found a handful of records and the outcome of the surgery was not good. At least one of us shouldn't be here. If I had been induced, I would have died in incredible pain, unable to deliver, and baby would have probably died from stress. We are now a case study and have changed the way that hospital responds to pain in pregnancy. Edit. Thanks so much for all the interest and love, very unexpected and has made my evening. I feel special. A bit more info for some who might want extra. Had an ovary and tube removed 10 years previously because it had wrapped itself around my womb and was like being stabbed every month. Remaining tube didn't look good but was in the right place, so they left it but told me I would 99% need IVF to have a baby. We had unprotected sex once and boom, baby, she is literally a miracle. After she had been removed, they had to take my womb out of my body, physically twist it back around and then put it back. I'm going back soon for another scan to check if it's back twisted because I have pain again. I can't help but imagine a doctor with decades of experience opening your belly, screaming, "Holy shit!" and taking pictures. Income. To make it into the richest 1% globally, all you need is an income of around $34,000 a year. I had a life-threatening reaction to a common prescription drug. It literally caused huge patches of my skin to fall off and my internal organs to begin liquefying. This reaction is so rare that they don't even have to list it as a potential side effect. 6 cases have occurred with over 10 million people taking this drug. I don't like to name the drug because the problem was with my body, not the medicine itself. I don't want to scare people away from a life-saving drug that isn't to blame for what happened. I'm fully recovered now, by the way. 2 eye colors, blue and brown. Sectoral heterochromia. Edit. There are different kinds of it. Some have one color for each eye. This is called complete heterochromia. Some have different color around the center, central heterochromia. And some have sectoral, which essentially looks like a pie chart. I'm part of the 1% of people being ambidextrous. Not me but my husband. He has a brain tumor on the pituitary gland. Before treatment his body pumped out pregnancy hormones, so he was hormonal and moody AF for ages. Just before it got really bad we managed to get pregnant. When our baby was born his chest had that let-down sensation new moms feel, a heavy-weighted feeling in your boobs. When our baby cried, his boobs started leaking breast milk same time mine did. He actually had to pump milk out to ease the pain in his chest. He got the treatment he needed and he no longer can squirt breast milk at me if I piss him off. Edit. It was officially diagnosed as prolactinoma. I know it's not exactly 1% but still pretty rare. I figured I have to be in the top 1% of deaf guitar players worldwide. I heard completely fine for like 25 years and spent 19 years of that to practice guitar playing. Been legally deaf for 3 years now and still can play well, muscle memory. I kinda want to start a band called death metal or something. I have aphantasia. I can't form images in my mind. If I read a book, for instance, I wouldn't be able to tell you what the characters look like. My brain just doesn't work like that. I found out at 30 that other people actually visualize things in their head. I always thought it was kinda like a figure of speech or something. Marathon runners. I guess it's a pretty low percentage of people who've ran one, but I've ran over 40 and still going strong. Targeting being close to 50 by the end of the year. How old are you? 40 marathons is a lot. Almost 50, but I ran my first marathon about 4 years ago. I know a guy who has just clocked up his 1,500th. Yes, that's really 1,500 marathons. I've died and had 6 wisdom teeth, and ironically those 2 things are related. For context, my heart stopped during my wisdom teeth extraction surgery. I don't remember for how long, but the anesthesiologist said he had the needle of adrenaline in his hand when my heart started beating again. I remember them waking me up and just saying, "You gave us a little scare there," before putting me back under and completing the surgery. After I came to and was sitting in the waiting room, I had to text my dad, because I couldn't talk. "I think I died," in which my dad obviously freaked out because they never even told him. Anyone's birthday must be under 1% of the world population. Congrats everyone. Joke's on you, mine's the 29th of February I win. I can spin on my ass really fast, like probably around 20 full rotations in one go. I start standing up, then I put my left hand on the ground and I throw my right leg towards my left. Finally I retract my legs and put my hands on my knees and I go spinning like a motherfucking Beyblade. I've been doing this since I was 3 or 4. What are you the 1% of? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.